I keep sitting back and I keep telling myself that maybe Mark Zuckerberg didn't really know how to run a $70 billion company. He probably did, $3 trillion company. He probably didn't know that out the gate. I don't think, I don't think Bill Gates in the beginning knew how to, but he learned it. They learned it. And if in my brain, I don't really think they better than me, then I could do it. And then my blueprint becomes the blueprint for somebody else to do it. But maybe that's somebody else that's trying to figure out how to do it. Maybe they don't got a blueprint like I don't got a blueprint. But they not in love with mediocrity, so it's not my actual blueprint that inspires them. It's the idea of just seeing me that inspires them. So just for that alone, we're not gonna fall in love with mediocrity. And we gonna go from birth to freedom. What makes Trap? What makes Leon? And I think my initial reaction was just the idea that I am resilient. I just thought about my resiliency. I thought about my ability to be faced with so many insurmountable situations, but I just never, ever gave up. I've always pushed forward. I'm not the person that, I'm gonna do everything somebody told me I couldn't do and I wanna prove people wrong and all. Like, that wasn't my mix, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just resilient. Like, I never got down on myself. I never looked at a woe is me moment. I never felt like, God, why me? I always had the why not me mindset. I always had the mindset that no matter what it was, I can push through it. I never got too high. I never got too low. I always just was in that zone where I kept pushing through. And so she was just like, you're a fighter. I said, you know what? I'd rather be a fighter than a survivor. And weird things happen when your therapist go, I said, yeah. I said, I'd rather be a fighter than a survivor. And so she was just like, explain that to me. I said, well, even though survivors have made it through things, there was a point in that where they were a victim. There was some point in there where they were the victim to a situation that wasn't expected. And I said, I went through my life always knowing that no matter what was placed in front of me, no matter how dire the situation were, no matter how dark it really was, I always believed in my heart of hearts I was gonna be victorious. And because I always knew that I would be victorious, I never got a chance to feel what it was like to be a victim. And that makes me a fighter. And so when I go through adversity in life, I'm always like, what's next? The downside to my life is I'm not sympathetic to anything. But one of the things about me that I care not to change, honestly, is that I'm not sympathetic. But I am empathetic. Because I understand that we all must go through something, and because we all handle different things differently, I don't expect people to handle things like me, but I also can understand where people are coming from, but I can't relate when people lay in it. I can understand your struggles. I can understand the cautiousness. I can understand the things that you've been through that has caused you to look at life a certain way. But what I cannot do is relate to it when you allow that to be the excuses on why you cannot keep going. One of the biggest threats to freedom is the excuse that you weren't meant for. And an even bigger threat to freedom is the comfortability in poverty. Being comfortable in lack, being comfortable with mediocrity. Ooh, that's it. That's it. The biggest threat to freedom, ooh, watch this. It's about to be good. The biggest threat to freedom is your intimacy with mediocrity. You're too intimate with it. You build a relationship with it. You actually lean on it. You caress it. You lay with it. You have foreplay with it. I just can't stand it. And so I look at life almost like an eagle. While most people look at life like crows. So the dope part about the relationship between a crow and an eagle is a crow will actually hop on an eagle and peck it. But the dope part about the eagle is it doesn't pay the crow any mind. It just keeps going up until it gets to an altitude where the eagle falls off. Because if it's went too high. And what I mean by that situation to us is you gotta be willing to keep rising up no matter what's eating away at you. You gotta be willing to keep rising up no matter what done latched on to you and tried to weigh you down. Our biggest problem is we keep allowing things to latch on to us and bring us down until instead of us keep going up until it falls off. Because here's what I understand, y'all. There's a certain quality of air at the top where mediocrity can't live. There's a certain quality of air at the top where subpar can't live. There's a certain quality of air at the top where excuses can't live. There's a certain quality of air at the top where mistakes keep on letting you overcome, but the excuse and the tolerance, it can't live. There's a certain quality of air at the top where only a chosen few can live. And here's the thing, it ain't that the chosen few is better than anybody else at nothing other than the ability to keep ascending. To just keep ascending. Because the air up there is different. And I think about like how God does certain things in our life. I think about how God told Noah to build an ark. He gave him like measurements. Precise measurements. And I think about how God gave Adam a blueprint on how he wanted him to be abundant, fruitful, multiply. And I think about how God tells Joshua, "For I am with you like I was with Moses." And then he gave Joshua instructions to go around it 7 times. And what I realized is like God is a God of blueprints. God is a God that gives us precise measurements, precise accuracy on how to get the most out of this thing. our biggest problem is we in this toxic relationship with mediocrity. So how do we go from birth to freedom? You got to get used to a different type of air. How do we go from birth to freedom? Got to learn how to breathe different. How do we go from birth to freedom? Because no matter how many times I look in the history books, freedom was never given to anyone without a fight. There has to be a struggle. There has to be some friction. I'm from the hood, so they say, like, we gotta move some furniture around. And most of us want freedom to come to us the way that we see it. Boy, if I tell y'all, I don't gotta tell you mine. Look at the stuff you've overcome to get to the very spot you in today. Look, how many decisions that you had to make where you was like, yo, I'm gonna make this decision? Bro, I don't know what's on the other side, but I gotta go. The thing about freedom, man, you gotta have a lot more of those decisions. Those decisions where you say, I don't know what's on the other side, but what I do know is I gotta go. I don't know what the end result is, but what I do know is I gotta go. Because I done got too intimate in mediocrity. I done got caught up in mediocrity. The orgasm that I'm getting in mediocrity is too good for me to release it. It's toxic here, but I like it. I'm gonna just keep it real, y'all. Like I was talking to Jose and them, and I was like, bruh, when I quit the job, I ain't know what this was, but I just told my cousin George, I was like, hey, bruh, like this is gonna change the game. And so you go sleep on your great aunt's sofa. You sleep on the air mattress. You go sleep on your great aunt's sofa. You don't know, and you start shooting videos in the room. And then you on the Breakfast Club one day, and you don't got no PR age, but God is the PR, but you don't know how you get there. And then you wind up on the Ellen show one day, but you don't got no PR, but you don't know how you get there. And then you on Sway in the morning, and then you talking to the NFL, and you don't know how you get there. And then you build a relationship with TD Jakes, and you build a relationship with John Hope Bryan, but you don't got no PR. You don't know how you get there, but you just know you kept going. You know you kept believing. And you know, you don't know, and you make $1 million, you're like, damn, this is crazy. Then you make another $1 million, and then you start helping people make $1 million, but you don't really got no real, you just keep going. And then you decide one day to go on a tour. You don't know, you ain't never did a tour before, but I mean, what the hell? You go do 7 cities for free, and then you do 8 cities paid, but you've never done it before, and you don't got a blueprint, but you just do it anyway. You know why? Because the air different up there, so you just keep going. And that's, you don't know. Then you just have this wild idea one day that God planned, and you say, go buy a building that's 50,000 square feet. Well, you ain't never bought commercial real estate before. Well, who cares? You go buy it anyway. And you just keep going. And then you say, I guess I'm gonna figure out how to put furniture in here, and I guess I'm gonna figure out how to build a $100 million company. Now, I guess I'm gonna figure out how to start hiring people, and I guess I'm gonna figure out what SOPs is, and I guess I'm gonna figure out what structure is, and I guess I'll figure it out. You just keep going. Because from birth to freedom, it means you just keep going. It means you don't settle for one accomplishment, because we got an abundant God that tells us to keep going. I don't have time to get in this intimate relationship with mediocrity because I gotta keep going. And then now I got this weird idea where, well, if we can do one and we get this one right, we probably can do two. And if we can do two, we probably can do four. And if we can do four, we probably can do eight. If we can do eight, we probably can do 10. And I mean, who knows? We probably can put one in every major city in America. I don't know. We're just gonna keep going. In some kind of way, we'll hire 100 people, and in some kind of way, we'll hire 200 people, and then we'll probably hire 500 people, and then we'll probably help 1,000 people, then we'll help 10,000 people, and then we just keep going. Why? Because we don't have the toxic relationship with mediocrity, because we're going from birth to freedom, and we don't always need the blueprint. We just need to understand that where we were is not. Where we were was just a catapult to where we can be, but we're not gonna get comfortable with where we were because that's a toxic relationship with mediocrity if we don't keep going forward. We're trying to go from birth to freedom, but you keep getting caught up in the glam. You keep getting caught up in how it looks to your people. You keep getting caught up in showing people that you're making money instead of saying, no. There's excellence up here. I don't gotta show you a Lamborghini. I don't gotta show you none of that. I'm gonna wear plain clothes all the time because I'm in love with the process of getting excellence, and I'm not in love with mediocrity. I'm trying to go from birth to freedom. I'm trying to create a generational blueprint that not just myself, not just my kid, not just my kid, but the whole lineage after me got a blueprint. I'm trying to show people who look like me, walk like me, talk like me, that they can walk in my footprint, that they can go from birth to freedom. I'm trying to cause a metamorphosis, so I don't got time to fall in love with this mediocrity. I don't got time for it. I keep sitting back and I keep telling myself that maybe Mark Zuckerberg didn't really know how to run a $70 billion company. He probably did. $3 trillion company. He probably didn't know that out the gate. I don't think, I don't think Bill Gates in the beginning knew how to, but he learned it. They learned it. And if in my brain I don't really think they better than me, then I could do it. And then my blueprint becomes the blueprint for somebody else to do it. But maybe that's somebody else that's trying to figure out how to do it. Maybe they don't got a blueprint like I don't got a blueprint. But they not in love with mediocrity, so it's not my actual blueprint that inspires them. It's the idea of just seeing me that inspires them. So just for that alone, we're not gonna fall in love with mediocrity, and we're gonna go from birth to freedom.